I think you're right. It's very general because it says, I hate robbery and wrong. It's kind of like, you know, I hate wrong and wrong is kind of what it is, like emphasis by saying it in two different ways. And then God continues on, their offspring shall be known among the nations, their descendants in the midst of the peoples. All who see them shall acknowledge them. They are the offspring the Lord has blessed. So putting the blessing of God in these very human terms in a way that the people understand, the greatest uh, blessing someone could have in ancient times was to have many children and many grandchildren and so forth. So God puts the blessing in those terms. Now, I don't think that it's exclusively about the number of descendants someone has. Certainly not, in fact, right? Some very faithful people who serve God well, they have no children or they have just one child. And some people who are totally clueless about anything related to God have many children. So it's not like you can just look at someone and see how many children they have and know how much blessing they've received from God. And I don't think that anyone, right, whether contemporaries of Isaiah, people in the time of Jesus or people today, I don't think anyone would be properly reading it that way. And I think very few people would understand it that way. Rather, they'd see it as an example of the type of blessing or, you know, the best, right? So God gives the best of the blessings, so to speak, is what it's saying.
Yeah, yeah. The That's right. I mean, it's not like you're saying, oh, now that you've become a Christian, you have to have 6 kids. Yeah, it's not. I don't think you shouldn't really be reading it like that at all. One thing though, we did want to comment. It's probably more for the second part of that verse, and all who see shall acknowledge them, and they are an offspring the Lord has blessed. Um, a lot of the like in the West, we tend to get the subtle criticism, don't we? The sense that, oh, this dude's a Christian, uh, and you get this subtle derivation as a result. The reality is that's actually an acknowledgement of who we are. It is actually an acknowledgement of the fact that we are walking with the Lord and are blessed by Him, and it's almost like a jealousy in a sense, right? Because we're just random people. Why would you feel like you should be snide about some random person? It's not like you think in your life days you go around thinking poorly of people because they're of this particular faith or that particular go to that club rather than the one you go to or etc. It seems to be a bit biased. Why is there this bias to deride Christians? What are there's a genuine. I think people are missing God, like the sense that I saw this on a short just recently. It says, good question for atheists. It says that now that you're no longer with God, do you miss Him? Which was an interesting thought. I thought it's an interesting way of looking at it. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that 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 tension that people have when they find out you're a Christian and have it and feel tense about it, that's them acknowledging the fact that you are in relationship with the God of the universe, and they don't have it, and it makes them squirm a bit, and when there's a bit of fear with people, they tend to lash out, and there's many different ways of lashing out. Of course, I mean, obviously, if you see violent Christian persecutions in a lot of countries, um, but the subtle social pariah type thing that you see in the West is the same thing. It's just an acknowledgement that somebody else has it focused on being in relationship with God, and they are not.
Professor Oriafel brought up something I was about to point out. Who is them in verse 8? Is it the Jews or the church or both? So it's unspecified, right? I will give them the recompense. It doesn't really say. I mean, you can kind of infer it's those who have been wronged in some way, um, but it's unspecified. But we see the result of whoever this them is. Their offspring shall be known among the nations, or known among the Gentiles, their descendants in the midst of the people.